Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I am Nisi Black. I'm so glad to be with you today on this beautiful hump day, celebrating another day on this side of the dirt. Welcome to Midweek Motivation and Mind Check. It is a beautiful day here in the Oklahoma City area. Sun is shining. It is absolutely phenomenal. Got lots of things to do today, but I am excited to be with you for another week. And I hope you are having a fabulous day. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for joining me, darling. So, how is everybody doing in their week? Are you accomplishing things that you set out to do at the beginning of the week? Sunday, Monday, you got your planner, you got your itemized list of things you want to accomplish. How are you faring? Have you made some progress? Tell me. Let me know what you're doing, and make sure that you are swiping to subscribe if you're a first-time joiner. Make sure that you are sharing and throwing up some hearts and let me know that you're there. I appreciate it. Hi, Karina. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time. So Midweek Motivation and Mind Check was started sometime last year just to kind of check the pulse on where you are with your goals, with your week, with your planning, making sure that you are staying on track with achieving everything you wanted to do in the week. So now's the time to check your pulse. Make sure that you are still in alignment with everything. Hi, Audra. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time. Make sure that you're still in alignment with some things. If you need to, take a pause to reevaluate, restart, refresh, or even take a different route, it's okay to do that as long as you keep moving forward with everything that you want to do. So today, I wanted to talk to you guys about losing control. And it may not be what you think. When you think about control, it's stuff that you are in charge of, you have control over from start to finish. Maybe you'll delegate, that type of thing. But that's kind of what I'm talking about, but not actually. I'm talking about the anxiety that you may get or the worry that may come about because you don't know what the end goal is going to be. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know how to do something. So you may be frozen in your tracks. So I wanted to share a little bit about myself, about my control, about my anxiety, about my frustration when things don't go according to plan. When I was growing up, I want to say right around the years where I was young and adult, I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. And I may have even more because Papa was a Rolling Stone. Yes, he was. But when I was growing up, we were in our young adulthood, and I absolutely hated the weekend. I hated to see the weekend coming when the anxiety would build in me when Thursday came and then Friday came. And here's why. I have 5 brothers, and they were all kind of, in their element out there, hanging with their friends, doing whatever guys do. And it got to the point where I was so anxious because there would not be a weekend that passed when I was not called to go do something or help somebody, or in the middle of the night something is going on, or maybe one of my brothers is in a fight, or just something. There was always something going on. And at the time, my mom lived in West Dallas, and there was either a shooting or somebody got beat up, or there was just so much. So I hated the weekend. I know the weekend is the time when you're supposed to kick back, relax from your 9 to 5, enjoy, sleep late, do whatever you wanted to do. But I hated to see the weekend because there was always something going on. I hate when the phone rang in the middle of the night. I hated having to stay up all night watching the hours click by just in case I needed to be available for something that might have popped off in the middle of the night. I dreaded it. So it built up a lot of anxiety in me because I had no control over my brothers. I had no control over situations in the neighborhood. I had zero control. So that I did not have control over, I worried about. I worried myself sick about, to the point that I would wake up with an anxiety attack so bad that I was calling everybody just to make sure everybody was home from the club. I was anxious about who didn't answer the phone or who didn't check in. And that is no that is no way to live. But let me tell you what. I got through that, and I want to share with you how I got through that. But the point I wanted to make about losing control is there are times in our lives when we can do the absolute best that we can do. We can plan, we can lay out details, we can have a checklist, we can have a plan A, B, C, all the way to Z, and things still don't turn out the way we have it laid out. And sometimes we have to lose the control aspect of our plan. Sometimes we have to set ourselves up to release what we don't have control over. And it's easy for people to say, oh, just trust God. He'll work it out for your good. Or start quoting scriptures or say you're not praying hard enough. It's easy to say that. But when the rubber meets the road and it gets down to it, it is very difficult to just trust God. It is very difficult to just pray about it because, number one, you make the assumption that I'm not praying. You make the assumption that I don't have faith. You make the assumption that I'm not doing everything that is in my power to do to give it over to the Lord. And that is not true. That is not true. I want you to look at it this way. We are human, and in our humanity, we take on responsibilities that we should not be taking on. We take on the Superman or the Superwoman mentality that we have to fix everything and that we have to be we have to be the answer to everyone's problems, and that we have to offer a solution every time someone calls us. And we have to, just take on the weight of the world and be there. And that's not true. I want us to get to the point where we are losing control and releasing responsibility of things that we should not have taken on the responsibility to solve in the first place. When it comes to people, when it comes to even our children, and Lord knows, I have been a control freak when it comes to laying out things I wanted for my children and watching over and how come this and how you should do it this way and I should all over their hopes and their dreams because I see how the world can be sometimes, and I want them to avoid a lot of pitfalls and mistakes that I made. So I should on them and want them to do things the way that I think that they should do them. And even with my brothers or my family or my friends, I want to be their answer. I want to help solve their problems. When I cannot assume that responsibility, I've got to lose that control and understand that there is only so much weight that I can carry. And I cannot be burdened. The Bible says I cannot be burdened with that weight. There is only so much of my cross that I can bear. And I have to get to the point, and I had to get to the point where I had to release. And that was a very hard thing to do. It was more than just praying. It was more than just trusting God. It was changing my mindset and changing my behavior. And at the moment I became anxious about something, I had to stop. So here are a few things that I did. The first thing that I had to do was to stop in that moment and take a deep breath and ask myself, honestly, what is the outcome that I'm afraid of? Because, see, we can have so many different outcomes. Things can be good and things can be bad. But what is the outcome that I feared the most? What was the outcome of the weekend that I was so anxious about? And I realized that it was the call in the middle of the night. It was my brothers getting into chaos. It was another shooting. It was another fight. It was another whatever it was that made me so anxious. Once I realized that, okay, what is it? And what is it can I do about it? Can I control my brothers? No. Can I control what's going on in the neighborhood? No. Can I control the outcome of the decisions that other people make? No, I can't. So it took me being intentional about checking myself in that moment when I started feeling the anxiety build up. You know what anxiety, well, I don't know, maybe it's different for you, but anxiety for me is that knot in my stomach that was so tight, it would make my throat close up almost. Maybe it was difficult for me to breathe, and sometimes I'd hyperventilate, and the palms would be sweaty, and I had this cold, and the hair would be standing up. And if it was like that when I would sleep, I would literally wake up straight up in the middle of the bed, and fear would take hold of me. So I had to stop in that moment and check myself. Not only did I have to answer those questions, what is it about the situations that made me fearful, that made me anxious? What is it can I do about it? Not a doggone thing about it. So what are my options if I can do nothing about it? If I can't fix it, I can't control people, I can't control the decisions they make, I can't control the outcome, then what can I do? I can control how I respond to that. I can control in that moment that I'm feeling anxious. I can control my breathing. I can control my thoughts and not let my thoughts run away. Because let me tell you, child, your mind will go there on you. My mind would go there and lay out everything that might possibly could happen, and then I would worry about those things. Well, I had to get control of that. So it wasn't just praying. It just wasn't believing in God. It was getting control over my thoughts, my thinking, my behavior, and how I was going to respond to that. So what I started doing was I started turning off my phone, which wasn't good because I sit there and I look at my phone and go, somebody's trying to reach me. Somebody's trying to reach me. I turn it back on. So that wasn't it. I got control of my thinking. I got control of my bodily reactions to that. I coupled my prayer and I coupled the process of controlling myself, and realized that I had to lose control and responsibility over everything that I could not physically do anything about. And it took a while. Let me tell you, losing control and losing fear and losing anxiety over situations, people, over circumstances, it takes time and it takes practice. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it can be done. As you grow in the process of trusting God with those things that you can't control, your faith builds. Your faith builds. Your resolve grows. And you're able to say, you know what, I feel that anxiety coming on, but no, devil, it ain't going down like that this time. I'm going to go to sleep at night. I'm going to sleep peacefully. And what happens, happens. I can't control it. So what I can't control, I'm going to put it in the hands of the Lord. So like I said, it's easier said than done. It takes practice. It takes putting one step, putting one trust, putting one moment into his hands, and then building on that. Well, you know what? I trusted him this time, and he gave me peaceful rest. I'm going to trust him this time, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time. So that to the point when my mom was sick, she had the stroke, and she was in ICU, and the doctors were talking all gloom and doom, and I was really stressed out. And I had a conversation with the Lord on my way out to the hospital one day. I was going to visit. And I said, Lord, what happened to my faith? I don't know what's going on. I had to stop and say, you know what? He took care of me when I gave him control, let him just take care of things before. I'm going to trust him now. And whatever the outcome is, I have no control over. I will trust him to see me through whatever it is. So it is a process. Trusting God is a process. Recognizing your moment of control is a process. And it's an everyday, a situational type thing. You have to stop in the moment because the enemy is there to throw you off your game. The enemy is always there looking for a way to stick that big toe in to your situation. So you have to be on guard. You have to stay on guard. You have to know what your tendencies are so that you can counteract them when they show up. You know your signs of control. You know the moments you feel anxious. You can recognize that and shift and make a decision. So how did this come about? Because I had a dream last night. And I had a dream that put me on edge. And I slept hard and it was always something. And it's gotten to the point where I know when I'm dreaming. I know the difference between my reality and when I'm dreaming. But I always take something out of it. And I recognize that in this dream, I still have control over my thoughts. I have control over my behavior. So the enemy can't come to me in my dreams anymore to knock me off guard or to make me anxious or to send me there. Right? So I want you to recognize and start learning the signs of when you are out of control. Out of control with fear, with anxiety, with trying to dictate every aspect of a situation, a person's life, a circumstance, any of that will create anxiety and frustration in your life. And I want you to begin to lose control over the areas where you never really had control to begin with. It's a facade. Let some things go. Free up some joy. Free up some peace. Release the anxiety and allow yourself to function. Even through the hard times, even through the challenging times. Build on your faith every day. Every day. Build on it. Trusting God is a process every day. Learning, recognizing when His hand is there because it's been before, and trust that He's going to be next time. Remember that anxiety and frustration and fear, they can be momentary instances that you can move past if you will just learn to calm yourself, calm your breathing, calm your thinking, and ride out that moment. Create positive thoughts. Tell yourself positive things. Focus on the positive outcome that you want. And don't give in to anxiety, to fear, or to believing that you have to be in control of everything. You don't. That's a weight. Control and do what you can. Absolutely. But that you don't have control over, release it. Release it. Let it go. And trust yourself. Trust the Lord that it will work out in your favor. And watch Him work on your behalf. In advance. In advance. In advance. So let me tell you, I am still learning to not allow anxiety to control me. Still learning. Just the way I'm still breathing. Everything comes along to disrupt your joy and your peace and your day. But you still can move past it in a calm. Don't make decisions when you're anxious and when you're in a state of anxiety and desperation. Take a moment, calm yourself, refocus, and move forward through it. Okay? So that's my spiel for today. Things are not always as you seem, or as they seem, not as you seem, as they seem. And it will get better. whatever the situation is that you have no control over, it will get better. It's just a matter of when it will get better, and a matter of how you will go through it while it's getting better. Whether or not you will allow yourself the peace and the joy that you can have going through it. You know, May is, if I'm not mistaken, Mental Health Awareness Month. I think that's the month they celebrate it. And a lot of times, anxiety can build up so much to the point where you really need to seek help. You really need to talk to somebody. You really need to have some professional, counselor, certified mental health specialist to help you through those moments of anxiety. I know there's a lot of medication out there that you can take, especially if you have stuff like PTSD and anxiety disorder. So if you can't do it on your own and you find yourself stuck or stagnant with depressive thoughts and anxiety and loneliness and grief, then by all means, I want you to reach out to someone that can direct you or that can help you get your life in order, get your thinking in order, get that anxiety, that frustration, that fear, to get that checked or help you get that checked. So, yeah, I think it is May. But remember that there are some disorders that you may need medication for, that prayer is not sufficient, and that's what the doctors are for. So trust that God has given them the wisdom and the knowledge to serve you in that capacity. But don't be afraid to go seek a counselor or what is psychiatrist? That's what it is. Psychiatrist. Don't be afraid to do that. Your wellness is more important than your pride when it comes to resolving issues in your mental health and your mental well-being. So don't let anybody tell you, oh, psychiatrist is for crazy people. No, they're not. The psychiatrists are for people. Psychiatrists, psychologists, there's a whole slew of folk out there that are specialized to help you get your life in order. And don't be afraid to seek them out. Okay? So I want you guys to do that. But know the signs of the things that make you anxious. Know what it is that make you fearful and that you have no control over, that you want to have control over. Start recognizing those signs and coupling your prayer, your trust, and your faith and belief in God with your intentional change in behavior in your own thoughts, in your own doing, in your own walking, and release control of those things that you have absolutely no control over. What is that serenity prayer, right? God grant me the wisdom to know the difference or something like that. I can't remember it word for word, but the wisdom to know the difference between what you can control and what you can't, right? Wisdom. God's got you. I love you. Not a single solitary thing that you can do about it. Join me most Wednesdays for Midweek Motivation and Mind Check, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. I am Niecy Black. I look forward to serving you again in the future. If you have any questions for me, then feel free to inbox me. Have no issues. I know some really good people that can help you with anxiety disorder. So keep that in your mind. I want you guys to have a beautiful day, the beautiful rest of your week, and be in prayer one for another. Okay? Love you guys. Have a beautiful day.